Ikaw ba ay consultant, videographer, photographer, or any other non-licensed professional at nais mong mag-register with BIR? Pwes, itong video ay para sa'yo. Hello mga ka-freelance! Welcome back to another episode of The Filipino Freelancer. This channel is all about helping you start and grow your freelancing business so you can have more time, more financial freedom while working with amazing clients and doing work that you love. And in this video, pag-uusapan natin ang BIR registration for non-licensed professionals. I actually have a BIR registration video which I published a few months ago. In that video, dinetail ko yung mga requirements and yung personal experience ko with BIR registration. But in that same video, I got a lot of questions asking if ano ba yung requirements if I'm a professional, if I'm a non-licensed professional, if I'm a sole proprietor. And so I thought it would be a good idea to make a specific video for non-licensed professionals, and gagawan ko din yung professionals and sole proprietors as well. So if you're excited for this BIR registration series, then please do consider subscribing. That way, wala kayong ma-miss na bago episodes. So this video will be broken down into two parts. The first part is the full list of requirements for BIR registration for non-licensed professionals. And then the second part, I will cover some FAQs. Okay, so let's get into the requirements for non-licensed professionals wishing to register with BIR. The first two documents, pwede nyo siyang kunin sa Municipal Hall. Number one is Occupational Tax Receipt or Occupational Permit. Next is Barangay Clearance. Now let's get into the forms that you will need to fill out from BIR. You will need to prepare 3 copies of each of these forms. Number 1, Form 1901. Number 2, Form 0605. Number 3, Form 1905. This should be stamped if you've transferred your RDO from another city. So yun lang ang tatlong BIR forms that you need to fill up for the BIR registration. Now let's go into the supporting documents. First supporting document is your letter of intent. Next is birth certificate. Next is marriage certificate, if applicable. Next is a sample of a contract that you have with a client or for a project. Next is photocopies of 2 valid IDs. Next supporting document is a DTI certificate. Now this is optional. If you're not trading with a business name, let's say you're just trading with your personal name, then no need for this requirement. Now here are some additional requirements if you have a registered place of business. Now let's say for example, nasa bahay ka lang naman, you don't need these additional requirements. Number 1 is proof of billing. So you need to make sure that it is under your name and indicates the address you registered as your business address. Next is the title of the property. Now if the property is owned under a different name, an authorization letter from the listed owner is needed to certify the usage of address as a place of business. Next is a lease contract. Now this is an alternative to the title of property if the address you will register is just rented or leased. And that's it. Those are the complete list of requirements for you to register with BIR as a non-licensed professional. Now, personally, I asked a friend of mine who is a CPA to help process my BIR registration, and you can do the same as well if you know somebody in your network or in your area who is offering this service. Or you can also check out TAXUMO, who offers the same services. Now, if you're gonna go this route, then you will need 2 more additional requirements. First is the authorization letter, and number 2 is the special power of attorney. Okay, now let's get into some frequently asked questions regarding BIR registration for non-licensed professionals. Number 1 is the occupational tax receipt. This is a requirement for non-licensed professionals. Ang equivalent nito for professionals is the professional tax receipt. Next FAQ is yung approved Form 1905. This is applicable if you process yung RDO transfer nyo ahead of time. Now, if you need help with transferring your RDO, check the link in the description box below. By the way, all these things na minention ko, the list of requirements, everything will be outlined in the description box below. Now, yung RDO transfer is needed if your tax identification number or TIN is not linked to the RDO of your business address. Next FAQ is yung copy of the client or project contract. Now, if you don't have a contract, then any proof of the nature of your freelancing work will do. So any screenshots from your website or from any other client work that you do, just as proof of your freelancing work. Now, again, if you're going to avail the services of a third-party service provider, then you will need yung special power of attorney. Photocopies of the SPA are not allowed. You must print 3 separate copies and sign them. And you also need the letter of intent in registering as a freelancer. And lastly, yung authorization letter. This is intended for the third-party service provider in handling your registration. At the end of this process, you will receive your certificate of registration, authority to print, stamped book of accounts, and your official receipt booklets. And that's it. You're officially registered with BIR as a non-licensed professional. Now, if you want to learn about my personal experience with BIR registration, then please click the video on the screen right now. I went into detail about the requirements that I submitted, and I also went through the timeline of how long it took for me to register with BIR. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.